Right, we'll make a start, I think. And if anyone comes along, that's great. It's all being recorded. So the whole point of this originally was looking at lesson observations. Okay, we've changed tack for two main reasons. First main reason is that you're going to be doing observations with other colleagues. So half of the experience is you working together as a team. And actually, if you look at an observation in probably year 11, it's going to be very different to FS2, to be very honest. What you're looking for is very different. So one of the things that's really important for you in your role, particularly over very soon, because we're going to change how we escalate questions, concerns, complaints, is how to hold a meeting. Okay, and there's things we take for granted, and there's things that hopefully by the end of this session, you'll think, oh, I never thought of that, and I will moving forward. Okay, there's two parts to a meeting. There's framing it so it's successful, and I'll tell you what that means in a minute. And there's also actually the organisation and logistics of the meeting to make sure it runs smoothly and runs to an outcome you want. Okay, so let's go through it then. Before we start any meeting now, and this is all meetings, this is from SLT, XSLT, your department meetings, we're looking at this because I'm aware that we've come from a period of time when everything... Okay, sorry, no problem. And we can balance emails with answering WhatsApp messages in the groups and things like that. I think moving forward now, it's important that you're present all the time. And that's the same at all levels of meetings. Okay, we're having the same conversations at all sorts of different meetings because we've got a culture that's evolved through COVID, to be honest with you, that we need to just unpick a bit. Okay, I'll be sending these slides through to you. Okay, so you have all this. But when you lead your meetings, okay, think about these points. I think it's a good way to start a meeting by reflecting on actually being present. And the red bit, be here, is really important. So I will request now that you don't need any devices, they can all close. And for the next 25 minutes, just try and not look at your phone. I know it's hard. I know everyone's asking you, and you may come back to 150 million emails, but we're trying not to send you anything. And just give yourself time, actually, because you deserve it. You know, you're the one that's going to be sitting in these important meetings leading them. And it's so important that you're able to do that successfully. Okay, because as I said, the escalation process is changing. So there will always be people that come in screaming to reception that need to see me or ACRA, and that's part of our job. But actually, as we say to every parent pretty much, we don't know the children, so we can't make any difference to them and the problem you've had. You can, and your teams can. Okay? So the escalation program that will go out to parents probably next week some point goes through the series of how to escalate a problem. And it pretty much always, for academic concerns, goes teacher, head of year, AHT, deputy head teacher, head of school, and then there's a clinic that we're running on a Wednesday, Akram, myself and Jackie, where if they have questions we can sit opposite them and hear what they've got to say as parents. Okay, so that's the culture we want to develop, because that culture will then make differences and make changes. In October, some of you will or some of you won't know, we've got a parent survey that goes out. And whilst you think, oh, another parent survey, it's a really important piece of data that is used both at school level and at corporate level to analyse the school and how successful it is. And it breaks it down into all sorts of different layers. You can break it down into year groups, you can break it down into subjects, you can break it down into topics, you can even break it down to teachers. Okay, so the whole analysis of this survey, and there's twice a year, there's one in October, there's another one around March time. And that's something that we'll be talking again. And as leaders, you obviously need to be aware of that. We're in a business, and any business keeps customers happy. Yeah, because they come back. And one of the things we're working on really hard is to retain our existing students, because that's really important. And these meetings are the key to that. Okay, so value yourself, turn your stuff off, and give me 20 minutes of your life. Hopefully you won't regret it. Hopefully. Right, this is something that we use in coaching. Okay, it's called the GROW method. I use it pretty much in everything I do because it's such a useful tool. It's so simple. So when you come to meet with a colleague, a parent, you can even use it at home. Sometimes use it with my wife. It works sometimes. Okay. But it's a simple strategy that allows you to plan what you're doing before you do it. Because you should not be in a position where you attend a meeting not knowing what you're going to talk about or what they're going to ask you. And that's the beauty you have. Okay? Don't walk into a meeting when they won't tell you what's going on. That's silly because you can't help them. Okay? That's where Akram and myself, we come into it, because we deal with ranting parents, we don't know what they're ranting about. You should never be in that situation. So if you get a call from front of house and they ask you to go to a meeting, the first question always must be, what's the meeting, what they asking for? Okay? Sometimes they'll say they won't tell you. And then it's the point of you speaking to them first to find out, actually, if you want me to help you, you need to tell me what you want help with. Because I can't help you if I don't know. And half of the preparation is in the planning. Yeah? So the principles behind it: goal, set a goal, realise the reality of where you are. Okay? What obstacles are there to overcome? Because they'll always tell you the obstacles. Everyone tells you obstacles. Yeah? Can't do this because of Yeah, we'll do that. So work out what the obstacles are before, and then wrap it up. And that's the hardest bit. Yeah? Hardest bit of any meeting is getting out of it and getting out successfully. All right, and we're going to go through that slowly, and then we'll have a chat later. When you have a meeting, the first thing that parents will want to do, or staff, or your wife, is have a rant. Yeah? People don't call meetings, unfortunately, to tell you how wonderful you are, usually. Okay? They've got to rant. They need to let that out of their system, and no matter how wrong it is, and how many things they're saying that are ridiculous, let them rant. Okay? If they get abusive, or they get offensive, don't let them rant. Stop it. Close the meeting down, and I'll talk about that later. But if it's a sensible meeting, the parents cross, let them get it off their chest. The other bit that I struggle sometimes with, try not to interrupt them. Okay? Because that will just make them rant longer. All right? So the first thing, they're coming to a meeting, let them tell you everything they've wanted to tell you for the last 3 or 4 hours or days. Okay? Once they finish that, okay, reinforce that you all want the same thing. Okay? They can't argue with that. You want the child to be happy, you want the child to be safe, you want the child to learn well, succeed in life, go to a wonderful university, wake up in the morning without being tired. You all want the same things, okay? So reinforce that same message that you want the same things. Okay, so that's the start. So the first part, goal. There are 3 goals you need to set, okay? There's the first goal, that if you have the meeting of your life, what do you want to get out of it? Okay, everything goes perfectly. What do you want to get out of it? The second one is, it sort of goes as you want it to. You've planned, you've prepared, you've organised it. What are you going to get out of that? And the third one is, it goes terribly wrong, but there's an important message that must be said. What do you want them to get out of that? Okay, so you, in your mind, before you even go into the, you've got 3 clear goals. Okay, then you're looking at the reality. Okay, what are my goals sensible goals? Are they achievable goals? Yeah, this child's never been in school for the last 6 weeks, and I want him here every single day, on time, with everything you expect. That's not going to happen. So are they achievable goals? Set achievable goals. Okay, and know the purpose. Okay, set a suitable time for the meeting. If you're meeting a colleague, don't do it before everyone teaches. Do it when you've got a gap and you know that if you need to have longer, you've got longer. Okay? Same with parents. Okay? It's very tempting to squeeze it in. And know the big picture. Okay? You're meeting with a colleague who's had some sort of trauma. You're going to approach that meeting very differently to someone who's in the best place of their life. Yeah? So do your research. Know your meeting. If you're meeting with a parent who speaks very limited English, they're not going to understand your goal. They're not going to understand it. So get someone in, I'll talk about it later on, to help you. Okay? Get the reality of the situation. Obstacles. Okay? Most times, the same obstacles appear for the same things you're talking about. Okay? So put yourself in their shoes. Okay? If it's a parent, understand that child as a parent would. Yeah? Whatever the problem is, there's going to be things that they're trying to do they can't do. So Put yourself in their shoes and work out what they would think and feel. Same with member of staff. We all know each other. If you're meeting with someone, put yourself in their shoes. If they haven't done something they should have done, why didn't they do it? Think about that, yeah? There's probably a decent reason why they didn't do it. And they're going to probably tell you if you don't think of it first. Okay? And then the last one, wrap it up. Hardest thing to wrap up a meeting, especially if it's going a little bit wrong. Okay? The hardest thing. So ensure the outcomes are clear. We talked about SMART targets, didn't we, in our 25-day action plan? Same principle applies. Make it really clear. What do you want to get out of it? What's your goal? Your first goal, your second goal, and if it all goes wrong, goal. Okay? Make it clear. Make it that you're going to do it together. Yeah? It's not the onus just on the person you're meeting. You're going to do it as a team. Put the support in if you need to. Put a clear time scale in. If you're involving other people, make sure that they are accountable. Many of you will have had an email from me asking you to do something. At the end of that email, I will email you and say, please let me know the outcome. Or please tell me when it's done. I'm doing that selfishly so that I'm holding you to account. Yeah? So I know you've done it, or if you haven't done it, you told me you've done it, you're going to be in trouble. Yeah? So do the same. Okay? If you're involving anyone else, you need to hold them to account to make sure it's done. And then you need to follow up. Yeah? So if you had a difficult conversation with a parent, drop a quick email next day. How are things going? Are things improved? All right? Same with a member of staff. Make a deliberate effort to go and see them. How are we getting on? Are we moving in the right direction? Okay? Very easy to have a difficult meeting and then hide. I've done that many times in the past, but actually it doesn't achieve anything. It just makes the person feel that they're on their own, and that's not what you want. Okay? And that is grow. See? All right? Any questions about any of that? So that's the framing of a meeting. So think grow in your mind. Yeah, so it's nice. It's a common method we use for coaching. You'll see loads of stuff online about it as well. So if you want to look at it in more detail, there's lots and lots online, lots of videos, and it's a business method we use. But I use it pretty much everything I do. I use grow method for. Okay. So we've talked about it. So now we're going to do it. Okay. The chances are this scenario could well happen to you. I think it's happened to me about 30 times in the last 3 weeks. Yeah? And it's happened to you, Emma. It definitely happened to Emma. You did it very well. You handled it very well. Okay? So the scenario is, okay, little Billy's getting on the bus. He's a bus student. Okay? We've said no students are off the bus, even if you turn up and smile and plead and beg, unless it's a serious emergency. Okay? The parent becomes upset. They've travelled all the way from Barsha to come and pick up little Billy because they finished work early. Okay? They're in the playground, they're driven across town, they've fought to park a car, and we all know what parking is like at the moment. They've parked up, they've hopped out the car thinking, great, we'll get home quickly, we can go out and do something as a family. They come and see you, and they tell you that they want to take the child, and you've been told that can't happen. Yeah? So in your mind, or in pairs, or however you want to do it, threes, I want you to go through the grow process, okay, and work out what your goals are. Goal if it goes really well. Goal if it goes okay. Your goal if it's a car wreck. Okay. What's the reality of the situation? What are your options and obstacles? Okay. What's the barriers you've got and how you're going to overcome them, and then how you're going to finish it. Okay. And I'll choose someone randomly to tell me. Now we've gone out of time a little bit, so if you can do that in 2 minutes, in 2s or 3s, that would be wonderful. Off you go. Thanks, right down. Just talk.
and thinking why, and like once they understood why, they didn't use that as a reason for their life. That one explains why. Because imagine your child think about when they're making another child, and they have for me, it's a good why they were affected in pain, but if they hadn't got enough of them, I don't know what to explain
some of them are true. How do you wrap it up?
How would you wrap it up? I think yeah, you're really close, but then
Right, ladies and gents, sorry, I know I'm flying through, but I'm aware I need to get you wrapped up and finished and back to class. So, anyone want to volunteer what they've been up to, talking about? Come on, Colin, you and your group.
Yeah, we would say that the goal should be for both the parent and the teacher for the child to get home safely that day. The reality of it is, sadly, we do have a school policy that the child is on the bus if they have to go on the bus. Obstacles, obviously, an angry parent, and a big obstacle we were talking about is if there's no one at home, so if they do get on the bus and they get off the bus and nobody there, that's when it becomes a big problem. But if there was somebody there, then we would be very clear with them, making sure they understand that the child's safety is the main goal, and that's how we wrap it up by saying they have to stay on the bus, that's the school policy, and then we'll next time.
Anyone agree, disagree? Want to add?
yeah, I explained to that parent like why they couldn't get off the bus as well. That's the same as Colin and said. Explain the reason why they couldn't get off the bus was because it holds the bus up and there's children on and off. We can't keep track of safeguarding, and the children are waiting on the bus for a long time, and then they understood it from that point of view. If you imagine was your child waiting to go home and they couldn't get home because they're pulling up the children off. Yeah.
Brilliant, really good, really good. And that's reality, isn't it? Yeah, that's reality of what's going to happen. If a parent goes berserk at you at the end and doesn't understand what you're saying, what are you going to do?
Is it someone who doesn't understand the language that I speak, or is it someone who doesn't listen to what I say?
Yeah,
there are two different things.
There are. Let's say they don't listen to what you're saying.
But at times there can be a scenario where they calm down, and in the evening you get a mail back saying that I've reflected and I've understood what you were trying to say to me, and then there's a sincere apology mail coming back to you, just because they've reflected back on that as a teacher you were trying to safeguard the interest of my child.
Absolutely. And if it goes really, really wrong, walk away. Thank you very much. We're going to have to agree to disagree, but I need to be in a meeting, and then walk away. Okay. Ironically, when they complain, and I get lots of complaints for various reasons, that some of them are very good complaints and reasonable, and some aren't. When I say, oh, have you spoken to your class teacher? And they say, no, I don't want to tell them. I say, well, actually, they're the people that can help you. They don't want to upset their child's teacher. That's the golden rule. That is the one thing, the little cherry that you've got. So that's something just to bear in mind, that no parent that I've ever spoken to, or nearly no parent, has ever wanted to upset their child's teacher. And they value the teacher, and they say they're doing a wonderful job, but so just bear that in mind. I think parents are very different with you and with the teachers, how they respond, quite rightly. Okay, so that's the grey model. All happy with that, because that's the model you need to use. Okay, we're talking about the goal. You talked about the perfect goal, child goes home safely. Okay, what's the worst case scenario goal?
Just take the child.
We don't want them taking the child.
Worst case.
That's the worst case scenario, but they won't be able to get to the child. So worst case scenario is we want them off the site. Okay, that's worst case scenario. Because then at least if they're off the site, they're going to think, on the way home, I need to go. So that's where we are. But you won't hardly ever get to that, I would imagine, because if you use this approach and deal with it properly, if they do come to you on the mugger and want a meeting about something that's not urgent, reschedule it. You don't need to see someone instantly, and the reason being, you need to find out the answers to the question to help them. So if you frame it in that way, you shouldn't really have to have a difficult conversation on the playground apart from things like buses or accidents or injuries. Okay. All right. So we've done the framing with the grow. This is about leading a successful meeting. Okay. Lots of things to go through. I will send you a PowerPoint, so don't worry, don't need to write anything down at all. Right. So place is everything. Yeah. All right. My office is deliberately stuck outside the finance and the bookstore and the buses because they're 99% of the time the places where it all goes wrong. Okay. My office deliberately has a settee in it. Okay. And it changes the atmosphere of the meeting when people sit in a settee. So depending on when you're meeting, whether it's staff or parents, think about the place you want to meet. Okay, we've got a range of places to meet in the school. Okay, because where you decide to meet sets the tone of the meeting. Yeah, if I'm having a very formal meeting and it's quite serious and it's big time, it's in the conference room. Yeah, because that sets that atmosphere. The other end of the spectrum is on the settees in my office. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind. Where you hold the meeting, you've got a whole range of places available to you here. Okay, leaders will more than happily give up various rooms. Just bear in mind, if you put something in front of someone, it sets a barrier between you. Yeah, that's another thing to consider. Tables can be a good thing, but they can be quite a bad thing as well. Okay. Suitable time, as I said earlier. Work out how long you think the meeting will take, and then double it. If you haven't got enough time, then don't do it. Because there's nothing worse than stopping a meeting in the middle. It just causes more and more problems than you would. People run out upset, they've got to go to class, then you have to cover them because they can't go to class, or so on and so forth. All right, so set the time, work out how long you need, and then double it. Offer them a drink. Okay, there's drinks everywhere. Yeah, if you've got a meeting with a parent, you can do it in the classroom. Christine's there. She'll more than happily get a drink for the person. Okay, you offer a drink, it's like a peace offering, yeah? And that instantly makes a difference. So again, use the tools around you. Okay, if you've got a meeting, you potentially think it's difficult, give them a drink. You'll see a difference. Okay, get the meeting minuted. Now this can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. Okay, if you're in a difficult meeting or a meeting that potentially could result in the parent complaining to KHDA, get it minuted. Okay, all right. Arrange for someone to take minutes. Okay, if you want an informal meeting where you're just working together and you don't think you're going to get to that serious nature, don't minute it. Because as soon as you get minutes of the meeting, it's formalised, yeah. And those minutes are set in stone. Okay, and be careful, because once you minute something, you need to share those minutes. Okay, so if you do need to formalise a meeting, you do need a minute. Again, the staff that can do that, Hazel, Christine, are available to minute meetings. Okay, right. Body language, big difference. You're sitting in an office opposite someone with a table there, with your arms folded, glaring at them. It's not a great start. Yeah. And you probably don't realise you're doing it because you're nervous. You know, it's one of those meetings that you've not slept overnight because you don't want to do it, but you know you have to do it. Okay, so you're all tense, your shoulders are up like that, your arms are folded. It's not going to go well, is it? So think about it. There's a whole load of stuff on body techniques that you can use. Okay, things like mirroring the person. It has a massive impact. You know, you'll find people touching their ears, so not obviously, but mirror what they're doing. They're leaning one way, mirror it. Okay, have open arms, don't fiddle, because then they're listening to you, watching you fiddle rather than listening to the message you want to portray. Stay calm and be confident. Okay, really important, really important. But there's a real close line between confidence and arrogance. Okay, but you need to be confident. That's the preparation, isn't it? That's going through your grow and knowing where you're going, what you're going to do, how you're going to say it, and what you're going to overcome. This is the one that you need to just bear in mind. Okay, not to scare you, but to sit in a way that if you need to get out of the room, you can get out of the room. You haven't got to walk past them to get out of the room. You're near the door. Just to be on the safe side. Okay. if you're in a difficult meeting, yeah, it's difficult. Alongside that, use the glass office, because we're always around there. And that Cram's door is next door, and we can hear, and we will always come and help you out. Think about carefully who attends the meeting. Yeah, not too many people, but enough to actually solve the problem. Okay, so think carefully, who do you want at that meeting and why? If they're not adding value to that meeting, don't have them there. And also, when you've worked out who's going to attend the meeting, discuss the grow with them, so you're both going in the same direction, both going towards the same goal. Okay? You may want a translator, so you can translate the English to Arabic, which is fine. But make sure that translator knows what you're going to do, what your goal is. Okay? So that when they're talking it through with the person, they're saying exactly what you want them to say. Never, ever, ever, ever let a kid in the meeting at the beginning. Okay? At the end, once you've agreed, once you've come to a conclusion and you've achieved your goal, and you want that child to hear the goal, great, no problem at all. Never, ever, ever have a student in the meeting at the beginning. Never, ever meet multiple families together. Ever. Okay? Pick one family at a time. Okay? Same with staff, I would suggest. If you've got a meeting with someone and they say, well, we all feel like this, we're all cross, we're all angry, we're all on this stuff. It's not about everyone, it's about you. You come to speak to me, so I want to help you. Okay? So, again, think about the people in the meeting. When you end, okay, thank them for their time. Even if you don't want to thank them for their time, and you hate them at that point in life, thank them for their time. Okay? Wish them a good day. Good to meet you. Yeah? No matter how difficult my meetings go, and how horrible the person is in the meeting, with the exception of probably 3 times where I've had to throw them out, I always give them a business card and say, if I can help you anymore, please call me. Yeah? Show empathy. Yeah? You know, they're probably ranting because they're at their end of their tether. Whether it's a teacher, whether it's a parent, they're ranting because they're up all night. Their children have been up all night. They haven't got to work. They've had to miss work, or, you know, all these things. Just put yourself in their shoes. They're ranting generally for a reason. Keep reinforcing the goal. Yeah, they've got to be 100% clear when they walk out that room what you've agreed to do, when, and who's doing it. Right? Offer support. Don't start with you. You've got to do this, then you've got to get him up, then you've got to get his bags packed, and you've got to get him on the bus, and you've got to get him into school, and you've got to stop him crying. Okay? We, or I, is a good, nice way to do it. So they appreciate your part of the process. Okay? Stick to the facts, okay? And don't let parents talk about groups. You know, we're all feeling this way. The whole class doesn't like it. They're all telling me. My friend told me that her son's brother's sister 2 weeks ago on Sunday had this happen to them. Now it's happened to my little Billy. It doesn't matter about other people. Okay? The power of WhatsApp is dangerous in the wrong hands. Yeah, it's very useful in other hands, but it's dangerous. And they will tell you about other people. Stick it to their children. Stick to the facts. Okay? Thank you for letting me know about all the parents. But actually, you're here now. I want to help you. Yeah? And always, always do what you agree. Yeah? If you agree with a member of staff to do something by a certain date, make sure it's done. And make sure you follow it up to check it has been done. Translation, as I said, no problem getting translators in, no problem at all. You need to be prepared. You need to know if that person can speak English. If someone's made an appointment, the front of house team will know whether that person speaks relatively good English or enough English to understand or not. If you're in any doubt at all, get someone to help. There's 2 different levels for translation. If you've got a meeting that's going to be all right, it's a nice meeting, front of house. Yeah, Miss Cancer, she'll do it. If you've got a meeting that could potentially go to KHDA, listening help. Okay. We've also got Miss Mays, who will be available as well. Probably more for this sort of meeting than that meeting. Okay, so you've got a range of different translators you can use. But again, be organised. Tell them exactly what's going to happen in the meeting and what the goal is you want. okay, before you sit down with the other parent. Now, this is the tough bit, ending it. Everyone overlooks the ending of a meeting, yeah? It's the easy bit, really, but it's not. It's the hardest part to end it successfully. So ensure that the next steps are clear in everyone's mind. Even if the last thing you need to do before thanking them and saying that you enjoyed seeing them and wish them well and all that sort of thing, just reinforce we've agreed now that this is going to happen by this date, and so-and-so is going to do it. Thank them, follow up. Yeah, if you've asked someone else to do something, get them to email you or write down they've done it. When you've left a meeting, it's really, 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 really tempting to go to your friend and talk to them about the meeting. You never believe what she said. You never believe what he said. I can't believe he's so rude. He said this, this, and this. I'm never going to speak to him again. He hates me. I hate him. Yeah? Don't do it, because walls have ears. The one person you don't want to hear what you're slagging them off for will be standing behind that door. Okay? And it's not professional. So when you leave that meeting, confidentiality is everything. If there's a problem or you need to discuss, you go to your line manager. Okay? And you meet them properly. But however tempting it is, do not discuss the meeting outside the meeting. Okay? They might. Unless you tell them in the meeting, we've moved forward now, please, obviously it's a confidential meeting, please respect the confidentiality. That's saying, yeah? But don't go moaning about them to someone else. The only person you moan to them about it is your line manager, who will then support you if you're moving forward. Okay? Because I guarantee you, it's happened over years and years, the person you don't want behind the wall will be that person. Who's probably doing exactly the same to you with their friends. Okay, so professionalism is everything. Right. If there's a risk that the meeting could go on forever, okay, because it's quite an art to end a meeting, tell a friend, tell us, tell Akram if you're in the glass room, or me, tell somebody, and we will rescue you. Yeah? How long have you got left, Colin? You know we've got a meeting in 2 minutes that we need to go to with Mr. Akram or Mr. whatever. Yeah, and then that gets you out of it. Okay? All right? Thank them. Thank them and shuffle your paper together like you do in parents' evening. When you finish the parents' meeting, you put everything back together, don't you? To let them know it's over. Do the same thing, yeah? Meet in the glass room. That glass room was built. We didn't have it in the original design of the school, that area. We built it for this purpose, to meet parents. Okay? If you don't agree, that's okay sometimes. Okay? If you don't agree with a colleague on something, that's fine. It's professional for them to say in closed meeting with you, they don't agree with you. They still need to walk out and do what you're asking them to do, because that's what happens. We all have to do that, yeah? I meet with Mr. Akram and we don't always agree on everything. But you'd never know that. Because when we walk out the room, we agree to do what we've got to do. It's okay, and the phrase is to say, well, on this occasion, we'll probably need to agree to disagree. I expect you to follow through in what I'm requesting you to do. And then we'll review it in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever. With a parent, it's okay to say, unfortunately, it seems like we're going to have to agree to disagree, but please remember, I'm asking you to do this, this, and this, because it's going to help your child learn, or it ensures they're safe, or whatever you want. Okay? And if it really doesn't go anywhere, you go around in circles, I'm sorry, I think we're going to have to stop this meeting at the moment, and then maybe we can meet up in a couple of days when I've got a bit more information, or I'd like to bring in Miss Jackie to this meeting, or Miss Anissa, so I think their expertise will really help us move forward. Okay? That's fine as well. All right? And hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into how to organise a meeting. You will have lots of meetings because it's important that you do, because you're the ones that answer the questions, not me, not Akram. Okay? You know the children, you know your teams, you know what's going on. Is there anything you want to ask about what I've showed you? Anything you don't agree with? Anything you want clarifying at all? I'll send this all through to you, okay, so you can have the PowerPoint. Anyone in your team who has meetings, please share it with them. You know, it's not a secret. Please share it to as many people as you want. Okay, the video will be available. £15 per time. And yeah, so it's not a secret. Please share it with anyone. And hopefully, it's been a useful 25 minutes of your life. And it's taking you away, and you can go away and think about how you organise, grow, model, and where and how you do a meeting. Okay, fabulous. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you.
Pleasure.